And go ahead and go over to your browser and go to turbosquid.com. And go ahead and create an account. So it's probably something in the upper right hand corner, something about an account, right? Log in or something like that, or create account. Do not pay any money for it. Don't put any personal information in there. It's always a good idea when you're creating any kind of account that you have a dummy Gmail account that you can use, not your primary one. You start signing in too much with your primary one, all of a sudden you'll receive so much spam that it'll be unusable. I had a Yahoo account that got that way, and Gmail seems to do a better job at weeding that out, though. You should develop some kind of scheme for yourself. What year you're born, any other information you want to make up and share it to them. That way you can remember it later on. If you have to enter in what year you're born to retrieve your password, then you have your dummy year. Is everybody good on getting their account created? Now, if you scroll down off their main webpage, you'll see the different kinds of models they have, and they have Blender models. So if you click Blender, it'll pop up here, and choose the one with price free. We don't want to pay. You can scroll down and see all the different ones they have. Specifically, if you scroll down here, roughly in the middle, well, it depends on how it wraps, I suppose. But you'll see a werewolf game model. Everybody locate the werewolf? No? Okay, yeah, I've been cold for a couple of weeks now, so I just thought I'd get my coat cleaned enough, got enough out your outfit so it's not too embarrassing to bring class. Go ahead and scroll out. Oh, you're so squid. Go to turbosquid.com. And then click price. You see where it says price. Choose that. Choose free. And now scroll down. Well, let's see here. Let's see what's price. Yes. Now, once you click on that, It'll bring up more information about it, but there should be like a download link that you can click. You can choose the industry. Primary 3D application Blender. Okay, when it gets done asking you all those questions, then you'll see a werewolf game models, the first one here, and there's a werewolf.blend. So if you click the werewolf.blend, assuming it's showing, if it's not showing, you expand to show all. But if you click the werewolf blend, then it'll download that file. Now, you see it's down here in the lower left-hand corner if you're using Google Chrome. If you right-click on it, you can say Show in Folder. And you can see where it's located at here. So you can take that then, you can edit, copy it, edit, paste it into wherever you want. So go ahead and go into, you can double-click on werewolf.blend if you want. We're going to go into it. Now what we're going to do is we're going to work at putting bones into the werewolf. And I don't know where the 3D cursor is, but if I do a Shift S, I can do cursor to selected. And that'll put my 3D cursor in the middle of the forehead, the head looks like. Which is fine. I know where it's at now. Earlier I did this just to refresh my memory, and I didn't do that, and I don't know where the bone went. I never could locate it. I did searched all over for it, couldn't find it. Though now that I'm saying that, I realize I could have just set the position on it and found it, but oh well. Okay, so now I'm going to do an add and choose armature and choose single bone. And a bone sitting there sticking out of the werewolf's head. I can use my mouse wheel to scroll in to show that to you. I don't really like the how this person set up this entire screen. I'm used to these being on the right side, not that they couldn't be on the bottom. They obviously want to have more real estate up here. You notice this here looks like a Nintendo controller with something above it. If you come over here and you choose this next to the cube, there's the two double arrows. If you choose the same icon, the one looks like a Nintendo controller or something above it, it'll change to this. Now, has that been on the bottom? No, it's been on top, hasn't it? So again, nothing wrong with it being on the bottom, but just bothers me. So I'm going to right click on this, and you can choose flip to top. And that'll put it up there. Now these are going side to side instead of up and down. So again, you can right click on this and you can choose vertical. And now it should look like what you're used to seeing up to now. But again, that's up to you whether you want to do that or not. Okay, we have our bone selected. If I click the little stick figure button, you see there's an X-ray option. Now choose X-ray, and that allows me to see the bone inside the mesh. Now the display says octahedral. We're eventually going to switch over to envelope, but it's fine for now. If I hold down my mouse button and rotate it over, I can approximately see where the bone is located. Now currently I have the bone selected. So if I do a GZ, I can move it down. So GZ, that'll move it along the Z-axis. Maybe I would put it there. It's a little bit too far forward though, isn't it? So if I do a GY, I'll move it and put it roughly in the middle of the body. So you should have a bone in the middle of the body now. Everybody still good? Now if I right click this this bone, make sure it's selected, and then I go over to edit. Now if I make sure I right click the top part to make sure it's selected, it should be anyway, but just make sure it is. Then you do an E for extrude. Then you can go out in this direction. Now if I rotate my figure and keep looking at it, I see that it's not bad. It's not sticking outside the body. Not too bad. Now if I do another E for extrude, I can point it that way. And if I start rotating it, it looks decent. Do another E for extrude. Point it that way. Now that one is outside the mesh. So I'm going to do an R for rotate and rotate it back in. I could select this previous joint and do a G for grab and move it back in. So that wouldn't be too bad then. I did a G. I right-clicked the previous joint and did a G for grab and moved it. So you can adjust it that way. Now I zoomed in on just the hand. If I right-click this and do an E for extrude, I can go maybe about right there. You had to kind of visualize this. Now if I do E for extrude, go this direction, do another E for extrude, E for extrude. You could, in theory, have every knuckle in your hand. Now probably it's sticking outside the hand. If I rotate it, I see it is up a little bit, or down a little bit. So I could right-click the joint here, do a G for grab, move it up. Same here. And then same here. I go this angle and it's a little bit off, I think. So G there. G here. G here. Now the extrude will be based upon whatever you have selected. So if I select this joint back here in the middle of the hand, and if I did another E for extrude, you can do that. You do E for extrude here, E for extrude again. Right click this joint, do an E for extrude, E again. And I'm not even close. See how they're all sticking down? But that's okay. I can come here. And I could do a maybe R for rotate. If I choose the right one. No, try G for grab. G for grab, move it up. Select this piece, G, this piece, do a G for grab. So you can individually select the joints and so forth. I won't move the other ones up. I think you get an idea. Now, currently, these aren't attached at all. So the bone's not attached to the mesh is not attached to the bones. If I go back into object mode and I right click the werewolf, I can come over here to the wrench, the modifiers. I can choose add modifier and I can choose armature. Then in the object, I can create armature. This is maybe still not what we want though, because this is saying it's binding it by vertex groups. If I uncheck vertex groups and check bone groups, or bone envelopes, I mean, is everybody good? Am I going too fast? I selected werewolf, and I went to the wrench. That's modifiers. Yeah. Then under the armature, after I selected that, I choose object here. And you should only have one, and it should say armature. And then I selected bone envelopes and unselected vertex groups. Now, if I have the armature selected, remember where this is at. Here it is. And you go into the stick figure button. You'll see that there's octahedral, stick, B-bone, envelope. If I choose envelope, this is going to be our display. Your bones should be selected, but if they're not, then right-click on the bones to select them. You'll tell when they're orange. And you go into pose mode. And if you select one of the bones, you'll see the envelope surrounding it. That's how much of the mesh is affected. If you do G for grab, see it pulls that up, but it doesn't get everything. Remember to reset your pose mode. You can always go to your pose and do a clear transform all. That sets it back. Now this next one, if I select that bone, do a G for grab, move it up. See how it moves everything except for little pieces there? That's where you would need to change your envelopes of those pieces to grab more of the mesh. So like this right here, obviously isn't getting all the pieces here. So I can change the size of the envelope by going to the bone and going to the deform options. Now if I change that to 0.5, choose another one, choose 0.5. We'll probably have everything selected then. Now if I go back to pose mode, if you're not already there, you select this one, do a G for grab, you'll see it takes up more of the mesh. Now the beauty of the vertex groups is it gives you total control. Remember the wake painting we did last time? Because I could come in here and I could manipulate each envelope based upon these I put into the bone. Like that's obviously too big, isn't it? I could shrink it down. The 0.1, which looks like it misses a little bit here. But then if I do a G for grab here and move that out, it not only gets what I want, but then it gets too much. So that's part of the issue of using envelopes. But envelopes are very easy. So when you're first learning, they're pretty easy to do, unless you want to do fingers, where they're real close together anyway. Okay, now we obviously don't have bones everywhere. You can extrude from anywhere. So if I come back here in the middle of the chest and choose that bone, go to edit mode. Now if I right click this joint right here and you see it turn orange, you can do an E for extrude and go out the other direction. Part of having it set up this way is that you can easily see which joint you have selected. It's like an orange. And you can do a E for extrude again, just like that. E for extrude again. Oops, where in the world that went to? Yeah, you have to turn it sideways and so forth, make sure everything's lined up correctly. Now, if I come back to my original bone, the parent, if I select the bottom part of it, if you do an E for extrude, do another E for extrude, E for extrude, you can have it go down. And so you can put the bones throughout the rest of the body. Now remember the animation. Let's see, timeline, where's it at? If we're in pose mode, you have to select your bones, if they're not already selected. Go into pose mode. I'm going to do a pose clear transform and choose all. I thought I chose it. Clear transform. Am I remembering that wrong? I don't know. Unless it wants me to select them all. Let me do that and choose all. Oh, okay. I had selected them all. It only affects the bone that I had selected, I guess. Okay, so if I have that selected, if I grab this one, and I just did an eye, and I think last time we selected whole character, selected bones only. And then you go along to 30. You do a G for grab, for example, throw it up there. Then you do another eye and choose whole character, selected bones only. then choose 40 and do an E. Now if you do a Control A, you have your character going up like that. Get that to work? Oh, how I did that is down here I chose this the double arrow, and I chose one set timeline. Is that the one you mean? Let's see. Choose that double arrow there. Go back 3D view. Well, that's strange. Oh, 3D view is the one up here. Yes, that's the 3D view there. And then this one, you can choose the timeline. I hate it when somebody configures these. I know it's their Blender model they put out there for free. I hate when they configure it, other than default, because I'm so used to having it a set way. I got 2 projects I want you to work on the rest of the class. One of them is go out and find a different model that doesn't have any bones, and go ahead and put bones in it throughout, and then create an animation on it. And then the other one is to find another model that already has bones in it and animate it. For example, what was this one? Not sure if that one has bones. Nope, that's a different issue. I downloaded this free 3D model. So this already has bones in it. And not only that, but they've put some effort into it. If you look at the hand, see where they've ended this and they've gone on to here. Now, if I individually select that, then that allows me to go into pose mode. And you'll notice that these are not actually connected. And there's a reason we'd want to do that, which we'll talk about later on. But if I have this bone selected here, and I did G for grab, see how it doesn't pull up all the mesh next to it? And I did G for grab here. See how it does that? So what do you think that they use to get that control? If I click the wrench, notice what they have selected: vertex groups. Envelopes are clumsy, but they're, like I say, they're something we can just learn on. Plus, I have limited luck with weight paint. Seems like I can never get it quite right. Does that make sense what the assignment is?